So today we're joined again by Chris Sumby of Stonedead. Chris, how are you doing, mate?
I'm all good, bit croaky. I've got a severe case of the He-Man flu, which is worse than the man flu, and it's wiped out generations and millions of people. But we'll fight on.
Good,
Other than that, I'm all good.
good, excellent. Glad to hear that, mate. So we're here obviously to talk about Stonedead Festival, and before we talk about 2026, I want to get your thoughts on. I want to say, always want to say last year, but we're still in 2025, the last Stonedead 2025. First of all, what went wrong, mate? What was your main headache this year?
To be honest, and I said this on the weekend of the event, it was probably the one which everything just clicked into place. I think because we've got such a strong team now, from the directors down to the management team, the production team, and all of the staff who've been with us for years, like yourself, and they just know what they need to do, when they need to do it. And it's just everybody goes on autopilot. And because we managed to get started a little bit earlier this year and made sure that when we got to Thursday night, we were pretty much ready to go. Because fortunately, we needed that because of opening the gates a little bit earlier on the Friday, which again, that extra 2 hours helped get everybody in, and it was a bit more smoother. There wasn't a complete cluster of people sort of all scrapping to get in. It just filled up naturally. So there wasn't actually anything which I had my hair pulling out, pulling my hair out. And I think it was the same for the rest of the main guys, like, like Louise and Neil and Toomsy and Dowie and Claire and Steve Home and, everybody who was looking after teams. So in the main, it was probably the easiest, dare I say that, the easiest
Hmm.
one we've done so far.
Well, I keep saying it'll get easier next year, so it finally has got easier. Nice, well-oiled machine, then, yeah?
Yes, it's running on Castrol, GT,
Brilliant.
whatever.
Brilliant, because you mentioned that it went well because started a little bit earlier so we could open a little bit earlier. Are we going to do that next year, 2026?
Yes, I mean, Steve Bennell, who looks after the gates with Kev Sloman and Richard Bennell, they said it had worked flawlessly, pretty much. Moving over to e-tickets seems to have been a massive help because it was just once we got them going on scanning them in, it was just straight in. And we could also see how many people were had in by a certain time and how many was still had to get in. So
Oh, right.
so what we could do is, for instance, on the obviously on the Friday we had everybody who was coming camping, coming into that side of the arena, and we knew on the Saturday how many to expect coming in from the day parking, so we could put a few more people in that side and get them all scanned in. So it was basically good tactics, sort of where moving people to where we need them, and we could see where we'd need the extra buzz because we'd have a bigger queues coming in that side. So that works really, really well.
That is good. Never thought about it that side of things would be in e-ticket, so that's good for you, isn't it? Getting things arranged. So nothing really bad. What was your best bit then from this last year?
Oh, I don't know. Probably, as I would say, the Sabbath tribute. And when I say the Sabbath tribute, everything which we kind of put together from um, the gates opening with the big operatic piece going into Crazy Train from the Randy Rhoads tribute, then having Mike Gray come and sort of produce the tribute we had on stage with Lydia and Florence Black and the lads from King Kraken, and then doing the War Pig sing along. And just little bits and bobs we threw in with. I mean, we sold our souls for rock and roll banners on the gates with one monster showman instead of one day, one stage, one monster rock show. Um, we also wanted to have, as everybody came out the gates at the end, goodbye to romance blasting. Unfortunately, because we got too tight with the curfew, we couldn't do that, so we had to miss that. But I would say the highlight for 2025 was the Sabbath tribute. Everything else was amazing, but I
Hmm.
think the Sabbath tribute just was the cherry on top of the cake.
I thought you might say that. I think that's probably one of everybody's highlights there. How did the thing with Mike Gray and all the others on stage come about?
So, um, I think when obviously we went back to the beginning and seeing it all take shape and go. It was very much like the Freddie Mercury tribute, but on a more gargantuan sort of like metal kind of thing rather than a generic rock thing, which was what the Freddie Mercury tribute was, which for me was one of the greatest gigs of all time. It was unbelievable, the Freddie Mercury tribute. So back to the beginning when I sat watching it and I was like thinking, this is really well put together. Like fair play to Tom Morello and Andy Coppin for putting it all together. And then when Ozzy died, it was so I remember being sat in the house and you kind of knew what was going to come eventually, because he was just he hadn't been well, and you,
Yeah,
you see the footage of him, and he was
yeah,
struggling. And I mean, I thought he would have had a bit more on the planet with us, but sadly not. And it was just sort of sat in the house, and I thought, we've got to do a few bits and bobs just to pay tribute to the reason why ultimately we're all at Stonedead, because Black Sabbath was the sort of the godfathers of heavy rock and metal. So um, I sent a message to a couple of musicians who played Stone Dead, and Mike was one of them, and just said, "Look, this is an idea I've got. Would you be interested?" And Mike Gray was pretty much straight on the phone, and he just sort of like listened and sort of was, "Yeah, we can do this." Um, we had some suggestions. I wanted Lydia to do Sabbath Bloody Sabbath simply because I knew that when it got to the screams bit, she would be
mm,
like an absolute shoo-in vocal wise, and she's just got the image and the whole sort of the dark priestess thing going on. It's she's got a really cool vibe for everything sort of dark and occult, which is very Black Sabbathy. Um, so we were talking about other musicians and having King Kraken as like the bass band. And we looked at a couple of ideas and we sent messages backwards and forwards and had a couple of phone calls on the, sorry, conversations on the phone. And then Mike come back and said, well, Tristan from Florence Black wants to do it. So I was like, yeah, that would work. That would work. So, we'd get like Super Note and yeah, that would be good. And then the next thing is he came back and said, well, actually, all of Florence Black want to do it. So I was like, well, who am I to say no? How we're going to
yeah.
make it work in sort of 10, 12 minutes. And he was like, leave it with us and we'll work it out. And surely enough, we managed to get everything sort of down to the the time we had to work with, including that. I mean, when he came on and started doing Mr. Crowley on the guitar, I think there's a lot of people in the crowd probably thought that was going to be the tribute.
All right,
And then
yeah, yeah,
when the band came on, it was like,
yeah.
oh, this is good. And I think there was also people had seen things like Florence Black had posted things, and Mike Gray posted things, and they were putting two and two together, and they thought Florence Black might be sort of making a guest appearance at some point. And then when Tristan comes on and the other guys and got the crowd going, it was just magic. So that was very stressful to pull together. There was a lot of stress getting things going on the stage in that time in between the two bands. But overall, I think it worked really, really well. Apart from when Lydia went on stage, she'd
Mm.
forgot to turn a microphone on.
Yeah, I
And
was that.
I'm looking around, going, is the monitors? And I can't hear anything from the monitors, and like it was just mic's off. So like, with people like frantically waving, like sort of, and then the guy came on and just flicked it on, and away she went. But it was absolutely phenomenal. It was one of the things which is probably going to go down in not just Stone Dead history, but sort of UK rock history for
Mm.
years to come. So it's nice to have done it, and hopefully a lot of people got a lot of joy from it, and it was a good tribute, and it'll be remembered for a very long time.
I think so. Great tribute. I love that segment. Had to get away from my job at that time to see that, and I'm really pleased that I did do. So that was this last year. You've really sorted it out because last time we talked was round about this time, November, and you still had the Friday night party to announce and that. But it's all done and dusted. All the announcements. How easy was that to put together for this next year then for all those bands?
Well, last year we had to hold off the announcement because of the Almighty's tour dates for the UK.
All
So
right.
we had that poster ready to go for months. It's just we couldn't announce it, so we thought we'll do everything in a one, and we'll try to announce as much as we can as early as we can. But we thought we'll hold off and do everything for that. I mean, the fact that we sold out early last year, there was kind of we didn't have to kind of like get everything on paper to try and keep the tickets selling. You know, but flip side is, was sold out, but nobody knew it was playing. So we were all praying, going, "Well, I hope people are happy." You know,
Yeah.
um, well, this year again, it was everything kind of dropped into place in the main quite early. A lot of stuff was booked the year before. Uh, Battle Beast we've been sitting on for quite a while.
All right. Yeah.
We couldn't announce them until they'd finished, well, it started their UK dates. Same with Armored Saint. We've been trying to get them on the bill because they came over in 2024 as guests. And Gonzo was like, "You've got to get us on this. You've got to. We want to play this gig." And say, "Well, let's try and make it happen." But you know, flying a band in from America is not cheap, so I
No.
had to try and make the money work for them. And then obviously, you know, accept who was it was touch and go whether we'd get them for a while. And
Right.
I've got to say a massive, huge thank you to Adam Parsons from Adam Parsons Entertainment for helping us get Accept sorted. Because once we kind of got a bit of traction with that, it fell into place quite well. But yeah, I mean, then you've got Europe as the headliner. So Europe, Magnum, and Accept, and Battle Beast, and Armored Saint, The Damn Truth, Crowbot, Assonville. It's just I think it's what everybody says this every year about their festival, but there's something for everyone.
Yeah. For me, you'll probably disagree with this, and a lot of people will do. Feels a little bit heavier than previous years. Was that kind of intentional, or is it just the way it's happened?
I mean, I don't know. I think we've slowly been evolving into getting more of the heavier acts on. I mean, I've, you know, said for years I would love to have Exodus. I'd love to have Testament. I
Mm.
would have Megadeth, Anthrax as potential headliners. I would love them on a Moth. You know, I'd love Overkill. Sorry. So the basis of getting the heavier bands on's always been there. It's just gone down to availability. But I think heavier wise, I think you know possibly 2024 was the more metal year. But I think this year we've
Mm.
got probably a couple of heavier acts rather than all being heavier. So it's kind of like, but then we've got you know like Magnum
Yeah.
and the Damn Truth on, so it
Yeah.
flips. And it's like I always mention 1985 at Monsters of Rock where you had ZZ Top, Marillion, and Bon Jovi, and Rat, and Magnum, and Metallica. You know, it was just everything kind of like set the next band up nicely, and there was just a good mix. And I mean, it's the same as when you look at Monsters of Rock '92 when you had Slayer followed by Thunder followed by
Yeah.
Skid Row. You know, it's like I think when you've only got the one day and the one stage, you do have to try and appeal to as many people as possible without deviating too much from what you set out to do originally. You
Mm.
know, and fortunately, we've got such a rich spectrum of bands. We've got a big pool to pick from. So I'm hoping that'll continue for quite a few years to come.
Cool. Yeah. Any changes for next year, 2026?
In terms of the actual arena and layout,
Yeah. Yeah. Anything? The arena, the layout, any additions?
I mean, we're always tweaking. We're still sort of like doing bits and bobs that like looking at problems from this year just gone, which we didn't have many. I mean, there's always requests and conversations coming in from the fans. I mean, we have just announced today that we're doing a third route for the Stonedead Express, which will come from Nottingham, which should make a lot easier for people.
All
So
right.
when I
I'd missed that, so that's good then, because it's usually just for the
Lincoln,
Lincoln and is it Newark ones
yeah.
you do?
So I mean, we've looked at Nottingham for a while. And it's just because people having that much difficulty getting accommodations with so much other stuff going on around Newark. So if we're going to Nottingham, it'll increase sort of the potentially getting a reasonably priced hotel. Plus, we'll get a lot of people coming from Nottingham, so they might decide to leave the cars at home and just get the coach, and it
Hmm.
alleviates pressure in the car parks, and there's a little bit for the environment. So we're doing that, and then I think there'll be other bits and well tweaks over the next 6, 7 months, which we'll communicate as and when we're finalising them. So
Hmm.
we're always trying to tighten things up and make things better, but there'll be nothing wholesale. We're not going to put two stages side by side and have like a dance tent at the back with the silent disco. There'll be none of that. It's not how we
I'm glad
play.
about that. That's a good idea about the extra Stonedead Express then. Knowing I like that idea. That's really good. Yeah, I was just going through earlier, looking at some of the suggestions that came through after 2025. Big one was showers in the campsite. Yes or no?
Well, I mean, I remember putting a post up saying like, these are the questions. Would love to have showers, and I know that a lot of people would like to have showers. I like to shower on a morning, but the problem we've got with Newark is where the campsite is. We'd have to put our own drainage systems in and water and electric and everything else to generate it. So to make sure that people had an ample chance at getting a shower, well, we're looking at, I think it was going to be something around 20 grand to put a lot of showers in, which is a lot of money. And
Yeah.
so it's something which we're trying to come up with a solution. Um, so we'll see, and we'll see what comes up. But yeah, it's one of those things which I would have liked to have had. It's other festivals have got them, but then again, with us only technically being the one day, it's a
Yeah.
short period of time. I think if we'd been sort of like everybody arriving on Thursday and leaving Monday, we would have had to do shows because everybody'd be quite aromatic. There's only so much Links Africa can do for your pits after 3 4 days.
That's right. And the bane of your life, toilets, they getting sorted. Are you sorted with those then?
Yes, I mean, we say this every year. The first year we did this, it was the toilets were like something like £1,800. We spent last year was 25 grand on toilets. So we're getting less complaints, but I mean, some of the queries is, can we have toilets near the main entrance? If we did that, they would fill up because we'd only be able to have half a dozen, and then getting them empty would be quite difficult. So keeping everybody happy is getting quite hard. But as long as we keep the majority of people happy and we still can be seen to be trying to keep everyone happy, we'll do all right. But yeah, toilets, I mean, I don't think you'll go to any festival where there's not a complaint about
Hmm.
the toilet. So we're doing all right.
Cool. And a personal question from me, as I asked you last year, rock and roll toasty coming back?
Yes,
Good.
yes.
I
They
can't live. I
know
can't live without the rock and roll toasties at
they, you know
at my
that
festivals.
no, they're absolutely fantastic and the food's phenomenal and I like one of those to replenish the energy levels come tea time. Cheese and ham. It just hits the spot with some, and the chips are really really nice as well. I think they must be like triple fried because they're
Mm.
just dead crispy on the outside and dead soft and fluffy. So rock and roll toast is getting a big plug there.
Yeah, so they should do. I love them. Um, I saw a post from you a while ago. I think it was September, doing a suggestion about a Stonedead raffle and having a big prize, sort of like backstage meet or greet. Is that sort of going to be happening?
Yeah, so everyone who's got a ticket will be going into a draw. And you don't have to, but so the ticket's part of your ticket, so you're not buying any more tickets, you're not paying for anything. And we'll probably have, I don't know, we'll try and get half a dozen prizes. But what we did in 2021 is we did this thing called the Ultimate Stone Dead Experience, where you had a tour, you went backstage, you could stand on the side of the stage for a band, and you got like some swag and all sorts of goodies thrown in. So we'll do that as the main prize, and then we'll throw in like all sorts of other bits of memorabilia as uh, second, third prizes and runners up and everything. But as I say, that's going to be included in your ticket. So we'll pull off everyone's names and we'll give them a random number, and then we'll just ask Alexa to give us a number between 1 and 5,000 or whatever, and so everyone then gets the chance and yeah, and we'll get some prizes out to some good people. And I think it's a nice way to say thank you for everyone's like loyal support because everyone's buying tickets now and they don't know who we're booking, and they're just buying it out of the fact that they're enjoying that year and they've got faith in us to keep on doing what we're doing and hopefully keeping everybody happy.
Yeah. Uh, question came to me. How many prizes will there be then? Have you got any rough
We'll go
idea,
probably,
or are you
probably,
working on it?
probably half a dozen. I mean, I've got like a garage now just full of me other half calls it crap. And I,
No, no crap.
and I call it sort of like priceless treasures, you know. And
Yeah, I would.
I'm sure there's a few with the team have got bits and bobs and we can put like banners in and scrims or whatever, and then raffle and put them in as a prize. I mean, we've got um 5 years worth of huge side of the stage scrims and everything, so they'll look nice in someone's garden or on the side of someone's house.
On that.
So we can do stuff like that, and I'm sure we can get some other bits and bobs from bands, and yeah, there's all sorts. It'll be a nice surprise, like a nice set of prizes.
Hmm.
Pardon me.
So will that be sort of like drawn on the day? And
No,
how will people know? Will it be announced on the main stage?
so we'll do it beforehand because obviously, if you've won the star prize, you'll
You
want
need
to
to get
sort of
there first, yeah.
you'll need to be there beforehand. So we'll probably do it in the spring. When we'll probably got a bit more sexy prizes to throw in. I mean, every year, well, most years, the last few years, we've done a tour with where Claire Winter takes some people for a tour around in the golf cart and stuff, so we'll throw some of them in as well. It's just there's lots of things we can throw in, and but whatever the prices are, they'll be absolutely fantabulous.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there will be. So drawing in the spring, so then you'll contact the winners directly then, will you?
Yeah.
Right. Cool, lovely. So everybody will know. Get ready for the spring there. So 2026, what are you most looking forward to, mate?
Getting the gates open.
Yeah.
That's always one of the biggest highlights when we get to everybody in the campsite, and then we'll get the Friday night done, and any tweaks we need to get sorted are sorted, and then we'll get to 10:30, and the signal goes out across the gates to open the gates up, and everybody's coming in, and that's just regardless of what crap's gone on over the previous 12 months. That there is the reason why you just think this is why we're doing it. So getting everybody in, whoever the first band are, because we're in the midst of the opening poll at the minute, seeing them walk on stage and you see 5,000 people with their hands in the air, that's always amazing. And just, I think it's a good mix of the bands. I couldn't pick one out at the minute where I'm looking at thinking, I'm looking forward to you more than anybody else because I'm looking forward to seeing them all. Well, bits and bobs of them all if I can, because I'm always running around like a blue bottom fly. So yeah, but I think it's a really strong lineup. I'm not going to do the old kind of thing where every band who releases an album goes, "It's our best album yet," and then 6 months down the line going, "Well, we were quite disappointed with this, that, and the other." And it's like, hang on a minute. But no, I think hand on heart, it's one of our strongest lineups. It's probably one of the more eclectic as well.
Hmm.
So hopefully, as I said, it should tick a lot of boxes for the majority of people and keep them happy. And then, if not, they might make some new discoveries and discover a brand new favorite band, which is again what we set out to do: give people something new to listen to and enjoy.
Yeah. I always discover one band that I've not heard of at, at Stonedead Festival. It was, I've said it before, it was Massive Wagons, the first one. Few times ago, it was Kicking Valentina. So pleased that those boys are back for the Friday night. Going to be really looking forward to the Friday night.